Wow, women of wrestling. It's such an exciting, action-packed, fun, competitive programming. You got to check your local listings to see where you can watch WoW. WoW's been around a while. The genesis of WoW, the evolution of WoW, even goes back. Thank you. The evolution of WoW goes back to the Glow days with Dave McLane and Jeanie Buss, owner of the Lakers. All a big part of WoW, and also a big part of WoW is the WoW superhero, part of Exile, known as Genesis. Thank you so much, Genesis.
Thank you, Jim. Wow, that's quite the introduction. I appreciate it. That's more than I get on WoW sometimes, so love it.
Well, we're gonna get with Dave McLane and see if we can fix that. That's what we're gonna do right now. After we get this done, we're gonna do that. It's next on the agenda.
I'm ready.
So Genesis, you're part of Exile, and I also want to mention this, that it's Women's History Month, which is so cool. And not only are you representative of WoW, a superhero, WoW Women Wrestling, you're also from Australia, came over to America, did that whole venture, and now you're making it. You're succeeding in professional wrestling. And I'm just curious, first of all, what does Women's History Month mean to you?
Wow, that is a really good question. Women's History Month means a lot to me, actually, and I think about it a lot when it comes to wrestling in particular, because it's something that's come such a long way in quite a short history. But the fact that we've changed the game. We're not just the sideshow. We are the main event, and especially in WoW, that's what WoW is all about. It's showcasing women, showcasing the athletes. I mean, to build a show and a brand just around women, taking on other women and showing their athleticism, their skills, like, it's the best part about our show. And that's why, even through all the struggles I've had to face with WoW, getting to the top and making my tag team the most successful, I have to say the show makes it possible for us.
And WoW, it's just so much talent on WoW. It's really cool to see, because you have all different types of wrestlers. And when I say that, professional wrestlers, there are some that have been wrestling for a while. There are newcomers to professional wrestling as well. I'm curious about a little bit, like, we don't have a lot of time, but just a little bit of your background. I know you come from a remote outback in Australia, but I just want to know a little bit of your background and some of the sports. I was reading about martial arts. So if you can tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, that's all exactly. That's where I came from. I'm from a very small town in the north of Australia. I could say the name, but no one would have heard of it. And I basically grew up loving martial arts, always wanting to be able to fight for myself. And so I started training on my own, and then I got proper training in karate initially, and then I moved more into I did a little bit of kung fu, sort of martial arts, because I just wanted to prove that I was strong and tough. And I also learned weapons as well. So you probably have seen my ring entrance is I swing those nunchucks around, and one day I might get them in the ring. We'll see if that happens. But I use it to just represent who I am. I also have a Chinese background, and it's all the things that I love about myself. So then from there, obviously, to take it to another level, I moved to the US, and I came across this tryout, and I was like, you know what? I think I've got it. I've got all the skills that are built up. I've got training, and now I'm going to take it to that next level and prove that I can perform in the ring. And then from there, through WoW, I was able to, find a tag team who's also come from a bit of hardship. My tag team partner, Exodus, she's also from Australia. And, we bonded over that, moving to a new country, fighting to show yourself and prove your position in the company. And now where we might be the next Trios tournament winners very shortly. I'm very, very excited to be a part of this show.
And I have to mention, too, because someone that I know who's wrestled in Florida years ago and still looks great, can still get in there, is Malia Hosaka. So it's Genesis, Exodus, and Malia Hosaka making up Exile. I'm wondering what she's meant to you, because you have that veteran experience part of Exile.
Well, Exile is now consists of Ice Cold, who is our third member, but we did have Malia, and she's just was a great, great teacher to our team. We learned a lot. Now we have Ice Cold, who is also proving herself to be a very, very valuable part of Exile. We're just taking our team from strength to strength, She brings something that Exodus and I were looking for when we needed to find a third team member. And let's see where it takes us. I'm very excited to maybe be the next trios tournament champion.
What has that transition been like then? That's new news for me. Going from
okay, yeah, well, I mean, you know, I started out in a trios tag team, and after Malia, then when Ice Cold came along, it was different, definitely, because, you know, we had a veteran wrestler, and now we have someone who has newer skills to offer. Ice Cold comes from an extreme athletic background. She was an weightlifter, Olympic grade weightlifter. She's done gymnastics. She brought a whole another level of like skill set to our team. So it changed the dynamic, but you know, it's always the core of Exile is for the outcast, the overlooked, the exiled. So anyone who's been in that situation, who brings that you know, that knowing of what it's like to not have anything, to not have anyone, and then to find yourself in a tag team and being able to prove yourself to be stronger than what you ever thought. That's what Exile is about.
Have you or Exodus looked at becoming more of a leader then in this group? Is it shared? How does that go? I mean, just in this whole now evolution of this Exile and what you all are doing.
Well, I would say that, you know, as the years have gone on, I've also come to realize that Exile needs to step it up. We need to be the tag team champions. I came into this company for one reason, and that was to be a championship title holder. And so there's been setbacks, we've made mistakes. And so maybe I have sort of emerged as a quote unquote leader of the group, but only through doing what it takes to win. That's all I'm about. So I know some people think it comes across as harsh, but I'm stepping it up. I'm pushing my team to our limit so we succeed in what we want to do. And that's my goal.
Genesis, as far as education goes, do you have a college background? Did you, in Australia, what were your goals? Were your goals to become a pro wrestler? I know you mentioned martial arts. Was it doing martial arts, MMA?
No, I thought about taking martial arts more seriously for a time. And then I sort of really liked the entertainment element. I had a stunt background. I wanted to be a stunt woman, just, you know, performing craziness on screen and, you know, showing just incredible athleticism and being fearless. So I feel like that kind of translated perfectly into wrestling, because wrestling has that wow factor, the entertainment side, as well as being, you know, incredibly athletic. And, you know, it hurts to be a wrestler. Let me just put it that way. It's tough.
When you came to America, was that then the goal, the initial goal, to become the pro wrestler? Or did you come to America thinking maybe I'll be a stunt woman, maybe I'll do other things, and then pro wrestling just sort of manifested itself?
I was already working in stunts, and I was already sort of doing work there. And but I had talked to some people about wrestling because I had been following it at that point. I'm a late bloomer to wrestling. I only started when I moved to the US. I got interested in it. And then it was just, I call it fate, luck, that this tryout came along. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I'm going to be the best wrestler that WOW has ever seen. And I'm still on that journey today.
And this is Women's History Month. And I'm curious, have you met Jeanie Buss yet?
You know what? I have met Jeanie Buss. I met her last year when I went to Comic-Con. I was representing WOW at Comic-Con in San Diego. And it was so cool to meet her because she's just what everyone had said, the nicest person ever. And, you know, being someone who's such a pioneer for our show, who makes our show happen, she is the person behind it. And then to get to know her and realize she's just the kindest person as well, wanting to know about us and what we do, like, I mean, couldn't be part of a better company.
And now you're a Los Angeles Lakers fan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been in Los Angeles. If I had to pick, you know, I would go Lakers all the way.
Hey, Genesis, and also a couple more questions, wrap this up. We're almost out of time. I'm curious, too, because I know you said you're a late bloomer then with pro wrestling. So what do you know, was there pro wrestling in Australia? Did you come across it at all there, or not too much because you weren't into it?
You know what? I didn't. I remember just having, obviously, it's the biggest in the US, but I did have a couple of friends who were just, it was in the era of the, early 2000s. They were the huge John Cena and Rock fans. And so I did hear about it. I watched a few matches, but at that time I was just like, nah, I'm not really following it. I don't know what this is. It's so strange. But then as I grew up and saw it, and you learn the whole history about it and like why it's so important, and you appreciate it, and then you do it, and then it's a whole other level. So no, I wasn't exposed to it as a kid, but when I learned about it as an adult, I got hooked.
When you get there for your first foray into the ring and not knowing too much about it, what were those first few times in there like? And if you could talk a little bit about the training you received.
First few times, I remember pain. I remember being sore. I remember not being able to walk the next day. No, it was okay. It wasn't that bad, but just feeling true impact and like learning how to fall, learning how to take hits, giving them. It's not like stunts. It's the real deal. Like you feel it. So I remember that, and then I remember asking myself, is this what I really want to do? Am I willing to take this? Because the respect for wrestlers goes up tenfold as soon as you get into the ring. It's one thing to be an armchair critic to say, oh, it's easy, I'm doing it. You learn real quick that you've got to make that decision. So then I was like, no, this is something I know I can do, and I want to prove to myself as well that I can take it. So then I was like, let's go. Went to training, trained as hard as I could with WOW, drove hours and hours in Los Angeles traffic to and from the training center, and just showed that commitment that I wanted to be here and I deserve to be here.
Okay, Genesis, we're wrapping this up. WOW, Women of Wrestling. Again, check your local listings to see WOW weekly. It's really a fun 1-hour show. And this is also Women's History Month, so we want to also hype and promote that. And geez, I got to ask it, since you have the martial arts background, are we going Jet Li, Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme? Who are we going? Do we have a favorite? Are we going back to Bruce Lee way back when?
Oh, man, you can't ask a question like that. That's just going to garner me more hate. I'm already on the most hated team, Exile, in WOW. So I'm going to say no comment, because I want people to watch me more than them. Watch us. Let's see why we're the best tag team in WOW, and why we are going to win the Trios tournament and then be title holders. You'll see it.
Thank you so much, Genesis of Exile, for WOW.